Good evening or good morning or whatever it is, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for watching and welcome to Jamie TV. We're going to start off today with what I think is a very exciting announcement. Digistix from 4Pockets, the massively popular iOS drum app, has just been updated to have 8 output buses. Now it did have 4, but like in my last video I was talking about how I used those 4 output buses, and then I received a message from Paul at 4Pockets asking me, would it be helpful if Digistix had 8 output buses? And I was like, yeah. And by the next day, he'd done it. And by that evening, the update was available to download on the App Store. And this to me is exactly the kind of developer that we need to be encouraging. You know, people who will listen and kind of give the market what they want. You know, so if you don't have any 4Pockets apps, then go to the App Store and check them out. Download some, because people like this we really need to be encouraging. We need them. Now later in this video, I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to put these 8 output buses to use. But first, this. So here's a workflow idea for you. Focusing on drums, I'm born out of an actual real life situation / crisis I'm having. I've got to get a whole bunch of tracks recorded and I've got to get them done fast. And those tracks need to have a consistent drum sound and they need to have a very realistic drum sound. Now unfortunately I'm not in a position to record an actual real life drum kit, but I do have a whole bunch of very high quality multi-layered drum samples, some recorded with close mics and some with room mics. So what I'm going to have is an AUM project with 2 instances of Digistix, one for close mics, one for room mics. I'm going to use all the multi-output buses and I'm going to set up all the effects that I need to get the very best possible drum sound I can possibly achieve on iOS. So come over here and let's have a look at how I'm going to do it. As you can see, I have 2 instances of Digistix open and both of them are routed to my master route over here. This one is for the room mics, which is currently muted, and this one's for the close mics. I'm just going to go in here because I want to show you how you would load up your own multi-layered samples. On any of these pads here, you can load up your own samples, and you would do that by simply pressing and holding on one of the pads. And your drop down menu, you'd go down to import sample. Now if it's the first sample that you're loading up, it will simply take you to your file browser where you select the sample that you want and it drops it straight into that pad. However, if you've already loaded a sample in and you're wanting to add another layer, you do the same thing. You go to import sample and then it gives you a list of the 5 available layers. So then you just click on the one you want and then it takes you to the file browser where you select your sample. Once you've selected your 5 samples and loaded them into the pad, you simply press and hold on the pad again, go to multi-layer configuration, and these 5 numbers across the top here represent your 5 pads, and you can use these options down here to set the minimum velocity that will trigger that particular sample and the maximum velocity you're going to allow for that particular sample. You'll see here I've programmed in increasing increments of velocity to trigger the different samples. Now those numbers are based on the way that I know that I program drums. Obviously, you know, you'd have to find numbers that suit the way that you program drums, but you get the idea. Now what I've done is I've programmed in 5 kick drums here, increasing in velocity, so I can just press play for you so you can hear the effect that it has, setting it up this way. And there's just a little more depth and articulation to it than simply having exactly the same sample, just louder or quieter. Digistix provides me with 16 pads into which I can load samples, so I've chosen my 16 individual component parts of drum kit that I want to load into those pads, and then for each pad I've loaded in 5 increasing increment of velocity samples and saved my kit. That's for the close mic kit. And then I've gone into my second instance of Digisticks and I've done exactly the same thing for the room mic kit, and remember to save that one too. What I need to do now is to connect those two kits together. So what I need to do is go to my little burger icon, and you'll see here in the drop down list, this is the first instance of Digisticks over here, and this is this one. So if I press this, now the MIDI information that I program into the first one will be received by this one, and both kits will be triggered. So this one is muted right now. If I go into this one, you'll see I have a little pattern programmed in. So I'm just going to press play. And now if I unmute the room mic kit, alright, successful so far. What we need now is multi-output buses. Before we activate all the buses, what we need to do is decide which drums are going to be sent to which bus. So the way we do that is we go here to the mixer, and then if I click on the bass drum here, you'll see that that is being sent to output bus 1 by default. So I click on the snare and that's going to go to 2. The closed hat will go to 3, as will the open hat and the loose hat and the semi-open hat, and the rim shot will go to 2, and side stick, which I missed, will go to 2, and then high tom will go to 4, mid tom to 5, low tom to 6, and then both crashes will go to 7, and the rides will all go to 8. Now I'm just going to go over to my room mic kit and set that up exactly the same, and I should be back in a moment. Now that we've told the drums which output bus to go to, we better open the output buses. But a quick little note first. If I just press play, you're only hearing a kick, and that's because these two faders now are effectively bus 1 for each instance of Digisticks respectively. So in other words, the close mic kick is coming out of this channel, and the room mic kick is coming out of this channel. Now what we need to do is go over to the plus sign, and we come down to multibus audio unit instances, and I'll do all the ones for Digisticks 1 first. So we click on that, and that gives us a second bus which we've designated the snare to, and then I just go and do that again, and I select the same thing again, and it gives me bus 3, which the hi-hat will go to. So I don't need to bore you while you sit there while I do the whole lot, so I'll do the whole lot and then I'll be back. Okay, I've now got my 16 output buses working, and I've checked them all through. Everything's as it should be. Just have a look at my project with me now. So here I've got 8 output buses for the close mic kit, and then starting here I've got 8 output buses for the room mic kit. What I need now is 8 buses to sum those 16 into. Now it might sound that's now going to make it like super over the top complicated, but it is in fact in the long run going to make things far simpler. So bear with me, I'm just going to open those 8 buses and I'll show you what I mean. I'm already using AUM's Mixbus A as my master out, so I've now added Mixbus B through to I for me to sum my drums into. And those Mixbuses are then being sent ultimately to Mixbus A. Have a look with me, I'll show you what I mean. So here is Mixbus B, C, D, E, F, G, H and I, all being sent, look, to my master out, which is here. And I've already labelled, because I do like to label things, I've already labelled these mix buses, kick, snare, hat, etc., just like I did with the other mix buses. So now what I need to do is go back to the start of my desk, and this kick now, instead of being sent to Mixbus A, it needs to go to B. And my snare will need to go to C, etc. Now that I've sent every bus to where I want it to go and I've sorted out all of my routing, now I'm going to move the desk around drastically. And when I've finished arsing about with that, I think everything will become much more clear. Now that I've done fannying about, let's have a look at my desk and see if I've done this right. So what we have here now is we have the close mic kit, then the room mic kit, and then the output bus where we will sum the two together. So what I can do is I can blend these two until I get a nice mix of the two mics, and then I can add the effects on this channel. And so on and so on. So we should have snare, room snare, sum of snare, hat, room hat, sum of hats, etc. And we should see that pattern unfolding the same right across. Yes, I seem to have done it right. Miracles never cease. So now with all that done, I can start mixing my drums and I can add my effects just to those 8 AUM buses, which will save me a lot on resources. And what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to get to work now on programming the drums that I need for the first track that I need to work on. And I'm going to play you out with some of that, instead of using the usual outro music, so that you can have a listen and you can decide for yourself whether you think I've achieved something half decent, whether it might be worth doing yourself, whether you think it's awesome, you know, or if in fact you thought it sucked. Whatever, let me know in the comments, and please give me a thumb up and sub if you've not already done so, and ding my bell so that you get notified of further nonsense like this from me. If you would like to ask me any further questions about this, you can do so in the comments, or anything else to do with mobile music production or music in general. If you'd like to email me, my email address is down below the video for a reason, as are all my links for all my different social media, etc. If you'd like to help me out with the making of these videos in future, the links to my Patreon account, my PayPal ME, everything's down below. My web address, check me out, follow me, stalk me, whatever. But look after yourselves. Have a great day. I'll see you again soon.